I'm one of 3 agronomists for SARE Solutions, and SARE Solutions is a local ag retailer cooperative right here in Indiana. I'm going to show you a map a little later on of all the counties that we reside, but essentially it's along the western side of Indiana, and we actually are a new cooperative. It's an old name, but we've merged with another cooperative by the name of North Central Cooperative, and now we operate locations in north central Indiana, northeast Indiana, and into Michigan. So we're going to give it a little different perspective. We were lucky to be on the forefront of some of the new soil health cover crop movement in Indiana, because a lot of our customers were interested in cover crops. As cover crops started to be part of the EQIP funding for some of our customers in southwest Indiana, a lot of our customers were interested, and so we learned right along with that. But it really goes along with our agronomic, our SARE Solutions go-to-market strategy, and that is to lead with agronomic expertise, number 1. We are a trusted advisor on the farm for a lot of our customers. So leading with that agronomic expertise, as customers want to go and work with cover crops, want to work with soil health, we want to be the professional that they want to access. Part of that's going to be solving some of their problems on the farm, not only with cover crops, but just with soil management services, soil sampling and the like. But we want you to do that with experience, information, and services. But the whole key is to build that lasting relationship. Our customers want to be successful with their chosen pathway on their production system, so we want to be successful with them. If we've got a successful customer, we have a long-time customer. So that's probably the biggest advantage in working with some of the soil health principles, working with conservation cropping systems with our customers that we sure want to do that. We are working with customers also that are not quite interested yet in the conservation cropping system realm, but we want to work with all our customers. So on the farm, several of us, as we started down the pathway, as we started down the journey of working with cover crops with our customers, there's several of us that can have that discussion on the farm, that can have that conservation agronomy discussion on the farm. Anywhere from helping him discover what he wants that cover crop to do. Several of our customers are interested in cover crops, but they really haven't thought in their own minds, okay, what do I want it to do? So because we've got a trusted advisor relationship, we know how they manage their farm, we know how they manage their nitrogen, we understand where they are with soil fertility, we can help guide them into likely a more successful entrance into working with cover crops, improving that soil health, so that we can have a customer that is successful. But then we can also, because we're good at logistics, I mean, we're good at agronomic systems, but we're also good at logistics of being able to get crop nutrition, crop protection products applied in a fairly timely manner. We can help him put that in perspective of that cover crop. When do we need to seed it? How do we need to seed it? What are our opportunities? What are the species? As well as when to terminate it. So we can work with all aspects of working with cover crops on that farm. While every branch is probably not up to speed, there are several of us within our SARE Solutions community that can, and that's sort of what it takes. So what we did about 8 to 10 years ago, again, as we started working with cover crops in Indiana, is we committed to training our sales specialists. We assembled a cover crops resource guide that talked about some opportunities, what are some of the different mixes, where did they fit into our landscape. We developed an early cover crops order program. As cover crops were becoming pretty exciting in Indiana, well, then we didn't always have the resources at the farm gate with cover crop seeds. So we wanted to sort of plan for that, to be sure that our customers had their cover crop resources. We had a webinar talking about the value of cover crops and how to terminate cover crops, when to seed them, so all of us could have that basic discussion on the farm. We worked a lot with our local SWCDs and NRCS partners, providing them programming on the field. So our expertise is how to terminate weeds, so terminating cover crops shouldn't be any different. So we partnered with our local SWCDs on field days. We entered that cover crop discussion on our everyday discussion, not only with farmers that are no-till, but also with farmers that don't no-till. We looked at cover crops as a way to enter into that conservation cropping system. We promoted that early order booking. This is just an example of the early order booking. So once we had the crop nutrition discussion, the crop seed discussion, the crop protection discussion, in that January, February time period, that allowed us to come back on the farm and have that cover crops discussion. So that customer could put down some money on those cover crops to ensure that we had those resources. Since that 8 to 10 years, it's certainly we are more reliable on having that resource, and it seems like it's less of an issue than what it once was. But then on the logistics side, we needed to figure out logistics ourselves on the retail location. It's all about getting the right product in the right time. So, while the early order cover crops program was wonderful, what happens when our cash crop seeding day changed? What were we going to do? So we needed to think through all of those things. How are we going to handle cover crops on our locations? Were we going to buy the seed mixed already? Were we going to blend on the premises? Were we going to blend that in with the fertilizer? And if we did blend it into the fertilizer or the crop nutrition, what were some of the things, what were some of our safe practices following that blend that we were going to get cover crops on the intended acre, but customers who didn't want cover crops, we weren't going to have that in their acres. Working with aerial applicators. And then not only that spring termination timing. It's having a plan A, a plan B, a plan C. So helping that customer through the logistics part of things. And so while we learned that cover crops have been an advantage to improving soil health, the other thing that we learned is we learned to work with other partners. Local SWCDs, NRCS district conservationists, they all want to work with that customer too. We both have different perspectives, but when we come at working with the customer together, even with our different perspectives, we can learn to work together and have that be more successful on the farm. I'm very lucky to have a good relationship with several local SWCDs, district conservationists that I can call anytime to help work through a solution or work through a problem with the customer and have a solution. And there's any number of us at SARE Solutions that can have that same conversation. But it's becoming a cover crops champion. I think we're fairly lucky that we were able to do that early on in our process, in our journey on cover crops. We wanted to work with the customer, number one. Number one overall is understanding, working with that customer for him to be successful on his farm. But then it's working with the seed company, putting those resources together. Working with the applicator, our local applicator that we have with us at the location, or the aerial applicator to get it done timely. But it's to make it all happen. Not every retailer is ready for that challenge. There are several that are in Indiana, and we're fairly fortunate that we've got some of those. And so, as we work with all the partners in this type of working with cover crops, is recognizing the ag retailer. In Indiana, we're fairly lucky that NRCS, SWCDs, a lot of our conservation partners recognize that we do have a very close relationship with the customer. We're that agronomic advisor, so using some of that expertise to work with customers. So I'm going to switch a little bit on, so that's how we entered into the cover crops world. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we've done since then here within the last couple of years to promote soil health on the farm. We're going to talk a little bit about our inclusion in the Big Pine Watershed RCPP proposal. You can see by the screen we've got a lot of different partners. From ourselves, the Nature Conservancy, NRCS, Land O'Lakes and Winfield United. And it's certainly a new, unique opportunity. I know several of you in the room know what an RCPP, a Regional Conservation Partnership Program, is that was funded by the last Farm Bill. But it's taking some of that taking private monies into a new conservation model within our conservation programs. So this is the Big Pine Watershed, and I can be honest and tell you that I should know how many acres are in this watershed, but I don't. So this is the watershed itself. It is about an hour to an hour and a half northwest of Indianapolis. We can see that we've got some priority sub-watersheds within the watershed. So that's the watershed itself, and it's going to drain right into the Wabash River. We've got relief, our soils are land areas with relief here, and we've got a lot of flat, black, drained soil in this part of the watershed as well. On the right is all the acres that we have a touch on. So this is what we've mapped in the Winfield United R7 tool. So it looks like we've got we do have a lot of touches on that watershed itself. The main branch that's been involved is in the Templeton area in here, and as well as the Boswell branch. So we've got branches that service those locations. So it basically started from several of our staff being involved in developing the watershed plan. And so as that occurred, we also hosted the SARE Solutions Templeton branch, and you can see our branch manager, Tom Stein, to the upper left, hosted the Big Pine Creek Watershed Best Management Practice. In the summer of 2015, the Nature Conservancy was looking for partners, and since we had been heavily involved in helping develop the watershed, we were certainly on board, as well as CTIC, Conservation Technology Information Center. And then our trusted partners within the crop production world is going to be Winfield United, a business unit of Land O'Lakes, and the Land O'Lakes Cooperative. So all five got on board to support this. In spring 2016, we were awarded a RCPP grant of about $1.5 million, of which $1.37 million were what SARE Solutions devoted for payment of services in kind. And it's actually basically used to leverage our expertise on the farm and our relationships with our customers to hopefully gain some more excitement about soil health and cover crops within the watershed. And it's also to start working on that watershed drains into the Wabash River. As we know, the Wabash River is attributed to a large percentage, or one of the watersheds that drain into the hypoxia zone. I'm not saying that quite correctly. As we started, though, what we wanted to do was, take our expertise. What do we know about working with our customers? So there were just basically two practices that we wanted to really support within the RCPP. It was focus on cover crops and nutrient management. Those are part of what we do well, how we advise customers. And so part of that was helping the customer helping the customer select the cover crops, terminate, discuss nutrient management. If we felt like there was a way that he could improve his nitrogen management program or a nutrient management program, we certainly were going to have some of those discussions. So try to move that needle on both of those two practices. We can help with that pre-application, so we can help discuss that on the farm and then send those interested customers into the NRCS office. We are the first ag retailer in Indiana to support and be part of an RCPP, so that's sort of exciting all in itself. So what were the results? So just after 1 year, we had 22 applications were submitted. And as part of our, not only talking to growers on the farm, we did a fairly large marketing campaign. We sent flyers, and we sent a bottle of water discussing the watershed to each one of our customers. We sent out postcards. We advertised in the paper. So the other one of the advantages to support this watershed was that we had a little different marketing bent compared to NRCS and SWCD. So that really helped at least increase the awareness within the watershed. So 22 applications were submitted, 13 applications did get full funding, and realized that this isn't the only game in town for EQIP funding. In that specific watershed, there's lots of opportunities, so there's a lot of funding. 22 applications, 13 were obligated. 8 applications of those 22 weren't ready to start the planning process at the time, even though that they signed up, so those should follow through this next funding cycle, or this next sign-up. So about 20% of the funding. And the nice thing about the RCPP grants is that it's not a use it or lose it type of a grant funding, so you don't have to use a specific amount in every year. We've got about 5 years to use to support that use that 1.5 million. So that's sort of what we've done within the Big Pine Watershed. It's sort of, and it's been a learning process as an ag retailer. So I sort of had a relationship, I already had a relationship, sort of thought that I understood NRCS and SWCDs, but I would tell you we didn't know what we didn't know, but it's been a positive experience for sure. We are leveraging our relationships on the farm to talk to customers about conservation agronomy. The last thing that I wanted to mention briefly is one of our SARE Solutions Conservation Agronomy initiatives. And these are going to be along with Land O'Lakes Sustain. So sustainability is a journey and not a destination. And when you think about crop agriculture, even how it's changed over several years, We no longer do a lot of mow or plowing. I mean, that's not the norm. We still do tillage, of course. We do a lot more no tillage. So we've already started some of that journey on some conservation cropping rotations. This is part of a discussion that I had with customers over the summer. So Land O'Lakes Sustain. So a little bit about Land O'Lakes. They are a large farm cooperative. We do a lot of our business. So we purchase our crop inputs largely from Land O'Lakes. And they actually have 4 business units now. The 3 key business units are Winfield United, which is the crops business. They've got the Farina food business, and then they've got the dairy business that is going to then end up in being Land O'Lakes butters and cheeses. Well, about 16 months ago, Chris Polizinski, the CEO, decided that we were going to have a sustained business unit and really work on the sustainability of Land O'Lakes itself. And the 3 pillars are improving air, soil, and water. So then, as we talk to our customers, sort of the thought is, why is SARE Solutions interested in sustain? Why do we want to develop our own sustain program? Exactly, sort of what is it? Well, it has to do mostly with the relationships that we currently have with customers. We have so many customers that are already using a lot of conservation practices, from no-till to cover crops to splitting nitrogen rates to site-specific soil sampling, variable rate crop nutrition recommendation. We might as well, we're already doing the things that we need to be doing. So it's going to be nothing new for a lot of our customers. It's also our commitment to reduce waste, improve soil health, increase opportunities for our customers. Again, it's about our customers. And if they are successful, we will be successful. We've got already an experienced team in talking about conservation agronomy on the farm. And then having the backing of Land O'Lakes and Winfield United is also another opportunity to expound on their footprint, our footprint, and work together on working on this discussion on sustainable ag. So this is just a picture of our territory. These are the counties in green are where we have locations. The Wabash River just goes right up there, so a lot of our territory drains into the Wabash River, and we need to take responsibility for that. We need to improve our customers, reduce any of the nutrients that might get into the Wabash River Valley. And while we can't always prevent it, we certainly can do something about reducing it. These are some of our counties within Michigan. So again, as a customer, again, this is part of a customer discussion, but gives you a flavor of how we talk to our customers. And it can offer us opportunities. A lot of the consumer, so CPG, of course, are consumer product goods. A lot of those companies are asking for sustainably produced grains, sustainably produced meat, sustainably produced milk. And so we're well poised to be in that. And with the watershed that goes right into the is known for its contribution to the hypoxia zone, it's our responsibility to work on some of that as well. But we do have a positive story to tell. If we are doing what we need to be doing to reduce nutrients going into the water or other things that we don't want, then people can't really point the finger at us, correct? So we're encouraging customers. It's a totally voluntary program. A farmer can say whether he wants to be in or out. But it's actually thinking about continuous improvement. All of our producers are successful producers. All of them are good stewards of the land. Certainly we could use some improvements at times. But all of them want to improve year over year, and sustain can be one way of doing that. So it is a voluntary program. We have established some base standards of soil understanding soil nutrients on their farm, so site-specific soil sampling as well as grid sampling. We have there's some caveats on nitrogen management as well as adding cover crops and no-till. So what's in it for the customer? Well, already a lot of our customers are already doing something with conservation agronomy practices. But it's an opportunity to join like-minded producers, access to a suite of conservation tools. It's a way to start telling our story. We just got back from the Land O'Lakes Sustain meeting, and one of the bigger things that my customers were interested in is talking about being part of the SARE Solutions Sustain program is start to tell our story. We are doing good things on the farm with conservation agronomy. Let's we've got a good story to tell. We are being responsible stewards of the land. We are doing the right thing. So let's start to talk about that. Land O'Lakes is a national food company. They have the ability to take the seed from the soil and then deliver that CPG to the grocery store. We touch Land O'Lakes, and I know I talk about we because we are heavily involved. We are a very strong partner of Land O'Lakes. That we touch all of that. But Land O'Lakes is a national food company and SARE Solutions is local. So that's part of how we have been involved in the business opportunities. Above all is what our customers are wanting us to do in the future, to be part of and work along with them. Thank you.